Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here today. If you are new here, my name is Dana. I am a homeschooling mama to a first grader, a kindergartner. I have a close to 2-year-old, and then we are due with baby number 4 in July. But as you can tell from the title below, today's video is actually a second part of my kindergarten curriculum choices. I, to be honest, was not even planning on purchasing the Learning to Read from CLE until I realized that my kindergartner was flying through both kindergarten 1 and 2 very quickly, to the point where she'll probably be wrapping up the entire kindergarten curriculum probably within a month and a half or so by the time we actually finish it, because we do more of a slower, more simple routine in the summer. So, but she will definitely have them finished by the fall. So I went ahead and picked up Learning to Read. And yeah, I thought I would kind of do a flip through. If you are curious as to what the kindergarten 1 and 2 look like, if you want to see if your kiddos maybe are ready for that first, definitely go check those videos out. I have a link down below for you if you're interested in seeing kind of what those look like. But if your kiddos have finished the kindergarten 1 and 2, this is a great simple step into the next level without just boom being overwhelming into the introduction of reading. So as you can see, which we'll get to later in the flip through, the first lessons are going to start out very simple and basic, very similar, very same almost activities and outline as her kindergarten 2 curriculum was. So we'll be doing some fun activities, some more coloring, you're going to be doing some handwriting practice, and these are all little things that she did in kindergarten 2. But I love that because typically people do take a longer summer break, so having the first light unit really be review based, to where it's based off of like kind of where she left off on kindergarten 2 and picking up again. And so it's a very sweet and gentle approach to beginning how to read. And again, she did all of these types of activities in her kindergarten level. So I really like how the first light unit is all about the review, but also doing some sight word practice by the time they get into the first light unit and everything. And then to go along with the light units, I got the 4 primers, which are these 4 right here, and these are part of the actual curriculum. So if you are interested in actually getting the curriculum, you'll need these 4 books as well. But this is the We Live one, this one right here. And one of the things that I love about this is the first primer is so simple and basic, but I love how they let the child experience opening a book and reading the page, even if it is so simple. So on the first page here, as you can tell, it's just one word, it's the word dad. And it's just, I like that because the kiddos feel so excited when they get to open a book and sit down and be like, wow, I actually read a story out of a book. So I love how it's not just working on a worksheet. They actually get the experience of opening a book and reading it. And all the stories in all 4 primers are beautiful. The sketches, as you'll see in the flip through, are gorgeous, and they're just character building, uplifting stories, very sweet. And then the 2 manipulative things that I got to go along with the curriculum that actually are designed for the curriculum is I got this little vowel sound blend, whatever you call it, slider, and that's what they call them anyway. But you can just take them up or down and slide down and do all kinds of different letter blends, and it's great especially to go along with the first 2 to 3 light units, I believe. And I love any hands-on manipulatives, especially when it comes to reading, that will really help the blending of the sounds and things like that click for the little ones. So I got this. And the last manipulative thing that I did get to go along with the curriculum is Learning to Read the word flashcards. I love these. I won't go into too much detail because I'll show these later in the flip through as well. But I love doing hands-on manipulative flashcards and things like that outside of doing the actual curriculum school time. So once we do the actual workbooks, because a lot of times by the time you actually do the workbook and the reading, the kiddos are ready to like be up and about and go play. But I do like to pull out the flashcards, especially during like breakfast time. Sometimes during dinner, we'll actually do the flashcards as a fun activity. But I feel like with the flashcards, you can do school kind of whenever and however you want without it feeling like school. So I kind of sneak flashcards in throughout our daily routine as just something fun to do with the kiddos. So that is everything for the curriculum, the 4 primers, I got the flashcards, and of course the 10 CLE units, and then the word slider. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the flip through. So this is the first 101 light unit. There are 10, as I mentioned, all together, this being the first one of the Learning to Read CLE curriculum. So there's going to be 10 lessons all together in the first light unit. You're going to be working on your listening skills. Your new sounds are going to be D, S, M, and F. You're going to be doing ending sounds, introduced to a new sound, the middle sound, blends, and then review and your review test. On the first page, on your notes to teacher, it's going to tell you to cut out the bookmark on page 49, which is going to be this right here. So you're going to cut this out and your student will be studying that throughout the course of the first light unit. Just so you get an idea of kind of what they're going to be doing in the first light unit, we'll flip through the first few lessons. Again, just really basic, and these are all things that she kind of already did in her kindergarten 1 and 2, but I really like how they're starting out very simple and basic while also advancing on the skills, also introducing to the letter sounds, handwriting practice, circling the correct sounds and things like that. And again, more writing practice, finding the letter blends and letter sounds that the pictures start with, and then introduced to the first actual word and the word blends. So I like how they do that. And then of course these are all going to be like sight word related. The new sound S, so they get introduced to that. And again, same type of feel and layout, but being different on every lesson, if that makes sense. So you're going to go through and find all the beginning letter sounds. And again, you're going to be introduced to some more sight words, so they're going to do that. Then you're going to be doing letter M, some more sounds. I forgot to mention as well that on the CLE program, most of the tests are going to be in the middle of the book. So you can go ahead and tear this out prior to actually starting your light unit. So just go ahead and rip that out at the beginning. That way you don't have to worry about that. And then at the end of the whole light unit, you can administer the test. So by the time you get to lesson 10 in the back of the book, your student will have learned all of these words. They're going to be matching the sounds. So they'll be doing words that are mostly focused on these 4 sounds, the S, D, M, and F. And then the final page before you'll jump back into the light unit 1 test. So by the time you get to the light unit 102, which is the second light unit out of the 10, this is the light unit that you will need your first primer for. And this is the first primer that goes with the curriculum, and this is the We Live. As I highlighted before, there are 4 primers to go with this entire curriculum, this being the first one. And it is very, very simple. And I love how even though the student is learning very simple words, they do put it in a book form, because it makes the student feel so smart and so excited because they get to open the book. And even though this the title is very simple and there's literally only 1 word on the first page, I love how excited my little ones get when they actually get to open a book for the first time. They read a page and then they all of a sudden feel so big and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm reading. So again, very, very simple, and this is going to be introduced to you, as I mentioned before, in the first light unit. And I really like the stories in here. They're very sweet. Pictures are like real life sketches and everything like that. But yeah, this is the first primer that you'll need for the course. And then again, on the teacher notes, it's going to have you cut out the bookmarks from pages 61, 63, and 65, and everything like that. So you'll go again to the back of the book, cut those out, and the students can use those for actually studying. This is your lesson 1 review. It's going to go over what you learned in the last light unit. Be introduced to some more words, more blends, and I feel like by the time they get to the second light unit, they're really starting to focus on the actual reading aspect. Whereas in the first light unit is that review that kind of takes them from that late kindergarten stage to now they are ready to read. And then by the time you get to the end of just the second light unit, these are all of the words the student will have known, and they'll be able to read these and then match not just like the letter sounds of the picture, but the actual words to the picture at this point. And that is just doing the first and second light unit so far. For the third light unit, you're going to be introduced to a bunch of new sounds. On your note to teacher, it's going to have you begin the primer 2, the We Explore primer. And again, this is the second one out of the 4-part series. And this is kind of what that first little story is going to look like as far as all the words and everything. Again, all the same type of like beautiful illustrations and real life sketches and things like that. And I love all the stories in these primers. I think they're really sweet and precious. And I mentioned that about CLE in general, about all the stories that they do include in their reading programs are so sweet and uplifting and character building and biblical. And they're just fantastic. Anyway, so it's like God put many flowers here. As he's picking flowers, Dad got some for Mom, Tom got some for Mom, and they're just really, really sweet stories. And then God put the many bunnies here on the earth. So they're including pictures as well. I don't know if you could tell that as well, but they're actually putting little pictures here that you can actually read. So God put many bunnies here on the earth. Many bunnies are brown. John had the brown bunny and things like that. So I really like that aspect. I've never actually seen that in a reader before. So this one, for example, would be titled At Church. John ran to church, Bob ran to church, the cat ran to church. So I kind of like that. this is the first time actually doing a full flip through on the second primer. And I actually like how they have those pictures there. That's really, really fun. So ring the bell, John, ring, ring, ring. And John sat at the desk. And that's really, really fun. That's a really fun idea to include pictures, especially when they're in the little years and they are learning how to read, but throwing in some pictures for them to quote unquote read instead of the actual words is really cute. I like that. And then of course all of your bookmarks in the back that you will be working with your student on in this light unit. For the fourth light unit in this series, you're going to be, of course, new sounds are going to be introduced. And the only notes to the teacher. At this point, you still will be working on your second primer, I believe. So your notes to teacher, the only thing we'll have to do is cut out those bookmarks in the back. At this point, this is only the fourth light unit in. These are all the types of words and the types of things that they will be able to read at this point in the curriculum. So we'll flip through here really quick and see what that kind of looks like. Again, more reading practice, some really sweet poems and stories to kind of read throughout. Some more little stories, word practice. Again, you're still doing the words and everything like that. Your review tests, and then by the end of the book, here's all of your bookmarks that you will have learned for the entire fourth light unit. So in the fifth light unit, this is actually when you can get out, and I actually got this for my first grader. It says you can begin the Language Arts 101 with learning to read. I actually did end up getting the Language Arts 101, and I did a flip through on that already. I'll have the video linked either up above here or down below if you do want to go take a look at that. But at this point, the kindergartner kind of going to that first grade level will be ready for the Language Arts 101. And then because I have looked through that, I can see how that really aligns well. However, depending on where we are with my kindergartner, I could technically start her on that. We'll see, time will tell on whether or not she's ready for that. Anyway, so this goes into the actual fifth light unit. Again, you're getting into a lot more reading practice, introducing some more words, some more stories, beginning sounds and things like that. And also near the end of the book, you're gonna have some more of the fun activities and things that also make learning how to read also really fun for the student as well. But that is going to be the fifth one. Again, you can begin the Language Arts one after this point as well if you want to. The sixth unit, we're going to be introduced to the long vowel, like the silent E, the long A sound, and things like that with more handwriting practice, more of the long A, short A practice, more stories and everything. At this point, they're getting, obviously you can tell, the words should, happy, obey, are more of the difficult words that they will have learned at this point. The practice of what the words start with. Then you're beginning your new sound, things like that. A lot of more handwriting practice, some more stories, poems, and things like that. And then at this point, you're gonna not just be matching the beginning of the picture sounds to the picture, but whole sentences to the correct picture at this point, and that will be light unit number 6. The 7th light unit, you're going to, again, optional begin your language arts, or I also have, I went ahead and picked up all 4 of the primers. That's at this point, you're gonna get the We Learn primer out, and this is the 3rd one in this series. So these are the types of stories that they will be able to read at this point in the curriculum. A note from Miss Esch, and again, obviously the words are getting a lot more bigger and more advanced and everything like that. And again, it is character building and courage type stories and just really sweet stories. So at number 7, they're going to be doing this primer. Your new sounds are going to be like your WH blends and things like that. And again, this layout is going to be very similar to all the other ones while being different at the same time for what they're doing. So for the 8th light unit, you're going to be doing, if I remember correctly, when I was doing flip through earlier, you're going to be doing a lot of double consonant blend practice in this one. So you're going to do a lot of the new blend introductions, a lot more advanced stories, a lot more reading, at this point you're doing full-on pages of extra stories of practice of reading and everything like that. As you can tell, a ton of practice when it comes to the actual reading part. And again, I don't know how many times I'll say it. I'll try to stop myself from saying it, but I love just the sweetness of all the stories and everything. So that's kind of what the number 8 learning to read is going to look like. And then for your 9th light unit, that's when you're going to begin primer 4. There's this one right here, and the first story in this one, so you get an idea of what this one looks like. And I still love like how they have the pictures in here, even though at this point they're very fluent in their reading. I still do love all the little pictures in here. So the stories are still very simple and very short. Like this one, even by the time they're in the 4th primer, is only a couple pages long. So, and with the same beautiful illustrations and everything like that. So really, really sweet, like I've said before. For number 9, you're going to be working on suffixes, and then you're going to be introduced to a lot more of the advanced blends. So we have the new blends, the MP, LB, and IF. Those are really difficult to learn. And then 3 other blends that are also really difficult for kiddos to learn is the SK, NK, and LK. So I like how they have a lot of practice with those. It's not overly repetitive, but there's enough practice to where they're actually going to get the concept and get it nailed down versus just like slim over it or glide over it and not really learn. So anyway, so match to make sentences. So they're learning how to actually comprehend the different sentences and match them together, everything like that. And then your bookmarks, obviously at this point in number 9, are very, very long. They've learned a lot of words at this point. And yeah, that is number 9. The last light unit in the series is, of course, number 10. And at this point, they're going to be doing Digraph Blends. So you're going to be doing that. Compound words, suffix, ed, ending, and everything like that. So the first Digraph Blends are going to be THR and SHR and things like that. And then at this point, they're doing sentence structure. They are doing compound words. They are reading and then filling in the blank with what words go in the blank and things like that. And yeah, I am really excited to start this with my now kindergartner. We'll probably be taking it pretty slow because the first 3 light units are definitely the ones that she's ready for, but then after that, by the fall, we should be totally fine to go ahead and start. I might end up not starting this at all until the fall. We do have a couple of her kindergarten light units to finish up, as I mentioned before. But if we do finish that, we'll probably just go ahead and jump into these because it might take a while to complete all 10. Anyway, so after all of that, these are all the bookmarks that we will have cut out for the 10th light unit. But yeah, that is actually all 10 of the Learning to Read light units. As I mentioned before, I love how gentle each light unit is, and it's not repetitive so much to the point where your child's going to be super bored of it. So I love that, but it's also thorough enough to where they're going to really grasp the concept. The other few things that I did mention that I showed you earlier that I got to go along with the curriculum, I did end up getting the Learning to Read the word flashcards. Typically, if I know I'm going to love a curriculum, and I've kind of like been diving into it this year, I do go ahead and get all the things that go with it, because with upcoming little ones that are also going to be most likely doing the same curriculum, and even if they don't, I feel like word flashcards are they can be used with a lot of different programs, and honestly just used for like sight word reading practice. But I love these. They're very, very high quality. It is cardstock, and it just has your sight words on them and different reading practice that goes along with the actual curriculum in each lesson. So I did pick up these as an additional thing to go along with that. I'll have the price up above the corner here for how much these were, but it was definitely a great investment because, like I said, I'm going to use these pretty much forever until I have no kindergarten or first graders anymore. The last thing I got to go with the curriculum was actually this sound slider. It's the 5 vowels. You have A, E, I, O, and U on here, and it's literally what it is. You can take one off and you can practice just taking the little vowel slide and slide it all the way up and see the sounds. And the same with like this one here. You can start here, go up or down, blending out the different letters and things like that. So I ended up getting this to go along with the curriculum, and this is a great thing too if you just wanted to get this as a standalone item. This is great because you can start this with like preschoolers, like just blending the vowels. Almost, it's like the blending ladders that we used in the My Father's World preschool curriculum. It was kind of a similar concept. where you just go through and blend the vowels with all kinds of consonants. But yeah, I did get that, and then that along with the flashcards and then all 4 of the primers is everything that I got in addition to all of these like units over here. So that is everything that we got for our 2022-23 school year when it comes to learning how to read.